Hello everyone. For those that don't know, I'm Mark. I'm from Idaho, and I'm going to share the story of how I found Christ and just my medical journey as a whole. So let's just get started. So I was born and induced by a doctor, and then right after that, I had RSV for probably a year after I was born. I had RSV for a full week. And RSV is pretty intensive. Obviously, I was super young, so I don't really remember it. It was something for sure. And then the same year, I had tubes in my ears. So that was a surgery they do in my ear, I guess. Also the same year, I had viral meningitis. So it was another medical disease, I believe. And then the year right after that, I had RSV again. Yeah, looks like for probably another week. So yeah, I was a pretty sick baby, that's for sure. And then the year after that, I was diagnosed with PDNOS, which is basically, I'll have the acronym up here somewhere, but yeah, I was diagnosed with that. And then 3 years after that, I was diagnosed with Asperger's, which is a form of autism, which now they don't really fully use that term anymore. Basically, it's just high functioning autism. And then the year right after that, I had ankle surgery for a very dumb mistake I did as a child, where I stuck a metal chair under a trampoline and fell right on it. Pretty smart kid, I know. And then 4 years after that, I ended up in the ER for anger, rage. So this is when, honestly, the devil was honestly really on our family at that point. I have another video kind of diving in a little deeper there. But yeah, honestly, that's when I was pretty either possessed or oppressed by a demon. And yeah, I was just tearing stuff up, and it was not fun at all. And then so I would end up in the ER once, and then in November, and then also in November I ended up there again. And then let's see, in December that same year, 2014, I ended up in admitted for anger, rage again. For a full night. And then after that, a year after that, I had a brain scan in Salt Lake, 2015. Trying to figure out just what was going on with me and all that stuff. And then in 2016, in October, I ended up at a residential treatment center here in Idaho Falls. That was really hard for me. I also forgot, in Oregon I ended up in a police car as well for anger, rage stuff as well, which is pretty disheartening, honestly. And same here. I actually got escorted to that place in a police car. I was just not doing good at all, honestly. But yeah, I stayed for about 4 nights. And honestly, those 4 nights were some of the worst in a lot of ways. Because that was honestly the first treatment center I went to, and if you've never been to one, obviously you definitely shouldn't. Only if you severely have to. But this one was kind of specialized in suicidal people and stuff, so they had a lot of suicidal inmate or patients and stuff, and it was kind of interesting atmosphere, I'll just put it that way. And yeah, I really just didn't want to do anything. I think for the first day, I just honestly sat there and just was not having it. But yeah, those 4 days were something else. But then, let's see, 2 years after that, I ended up in another residential treatment center in Utah. This one was for a long time. It's like 7 weeks, and that was also something else too. Like, I have so many memories there, good and bad. Because luckily, for a treatment center, they did have like fun activities you got to do every weekend, that was pretty cool. But yeah, there was a lot of things I can get into there. I'm not gonna stick too far in these treatment centers because obviously they're behind me, and I'm changed by Christ now. But yeah, so then I had that one for 7 weeks, and then that same year, I pretty much, let's see, like 4 months after that treatment center, I ended up in the ER again for anger rage in Utah. And then the year after that, in January, I ended up there again in the ER. And then that same year, a couple days, actually, yeah, like probably a week after that, I was in the ER for suicidal thoughts. Honestly, I was in a really bad place again. Like, when you're like stuck in these scenarios and just bounce from like medicine to medicine, like there's like a full list full of medicines and stuff that I've taken throughout most of all these incidents too, that have drastically like changed my brain and stuff. But yeah, those definitely didn't help at all. I think some of the suicidal thoughts came from the medication, and some just honestly from life, just because I didn't see much outlook. I never had like the full intention of like acting on it, but man, those thoughts were real. Like, yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was when I was in the like the white room and couldn't really like talk to anybody and stuff. But yeah, that was pretty insane. And then the month after that, I had a cognitive brain scan in Texas. So I had another brain scan to figure out what was going on. Honestly, most of these brain scans didn't really show up much, except the fact that, yeah, so mostly these brain scans didn't really show too much, except the fact that I was autistic and had a lot of just different brain pathways that most people don't have. So I thought differently, was kind of my way of thinking was different. That's mostly what these showed. They didn't like give too many like options of like what to do after it, but I guess they were something, and showed that I did have brain, something was going on in the brain for sure. But yeah, so, and then that same year, in, let's see, like 5 months after the brain scan, I ended up in the ER again. If you didn't see the pattern here, I've ended up in the ER a lot for anger rage. And honestly, this goes back to a lot of just think a lot of change and a lot of like, I guess like a lot of just like hatred in a way, for most of like the things that have happened in my life. At that point, I've been like I said, I've been through plenty of doctors, at least over like 50 doctors throughout my life, which is insane. So basically, that's mostly kind of where that came from. Also for the fact that what I didn't know is, we'll get to this in a minute when it comes up here, but the future diagnosis actually made sense on why I had a lot of this anger rage, but we just didn't fully get it diagnosed because it's pretty hard to actually diagnose in the US and stuff, so we didn't understand what it was. That's why we ended up in the ER to just figure out what it was and to get me either medicated for safety or just find other options. But so yeah, and then 3 months after that, I ended up in the ER again for anger rage, and then that same month again for anger rage, and then the year after that, I ended up in another treatment center. So this one was kind of different. I kind of like sort of wanted to go in a weird way, but because like I looked at the website and like it looked like super cool, like they would like fully understand like what I've been going through and all this stuff. But then when it fully came down to it, like, and I was there, I was like, oh no, this is not what they said. And so yeah, it was drastically different than what the website said, which was honestly unfortunate, because I mean, these people are like, you know, obviously struggling and going through it. Yeah, so it's just unfortunate some companies do that. I'm not gonna fully like call them out and be like, oh yeah, you know, they're totally bad or anything, because they're doing their best in a lot of ways, but there was just a lot of things that were kind of false advertising in a lot of ways. But anyway, so I went there for probably another solid 7 weeks again. Yeah, honestly, I have a lot of memories there too, so unfortunately a lot more bad ones than good ones, unfortunately. But anyway, won't stay there too long. We'll kind of move on from that. But and then looks like 5 months after that, I had a brain MRI and genetic testing in Salt Lake. So yeah, I do remember this pretty fondly, I believe. Yeah, so like, I believe this is where I got like one of those like head cap things, and then like you stuck like a syringe in it, and it like has like this gel stuff where it gets like conductive in the head. And basically, I think this was for like ADHD testing, I believe. And it found out, both me and my mom did it, and what we found out from the guy that tested us said that I think my brain was like 4 times faster, and then hers was like 2 times faster. So that was kind of fascinating. I don't know how true that is now, but I guess it's kind of cool. And then the genetic testing kind of just showed like a lot of just random genetic stuff that I have in my my family and whatnot. But obviously it doesn't help to know I have all that. But well, I mean, it's how it is. But because unfortunately there's not too much you can do with like bad genetics. You know, you're just kind of stuck with it. So so yeah, I had that, and then the year after that, in 2021, I had my tonsil surgery. So I had my tonsils and my adenoids removed, and that was for not just for not for fun, obviously, but there was a doctor that was saying to do that before we were able to go to him. So, but what was interesting is we found in my tonsils and my adenoids that they was filled with Prevotella, which is a form of strep. So actually my tonsils and my adenoids were like filled with strep like for a long time, which I had no idea about, which is insane. So luckily those are gone. But then the year, that same year, so like 3 months, no, wait, like 2 months after that, I went to Chicago to get IVIG treatment, which is basically, it's like antibodies in a way. Basically, people do like donations for blood and stuff, and a lot of the antibodies from the blood gets transferred into like a bottle and stuff. And I think one bottle or something is like 1,000 participants. And I had one of those bottles to try to get my immune system back up and stuff. And yeah, that actually did work for a little bit, and it actually like saw like emotion and things I haven't seen in years, honestly. So yeah, that was pretty like hopeful. Like once I did that treatment, like it kind of had like a rise of kind of where I actually could see medical improvement and stuff. It didn't last forever, but like the first 2 weeks, like I actually like saw an improvement, which is pretty cool. So yeah, and then a year after that, I went to Lyme Stop, which is like a little place in Coeur d'Alene where they actually do like Lyme testing and like sort of Lyme testing. It's like, it's kind of weird where they use like magnets and like vials of like little substance to see if you have it or not. It was a little strange, I'm not gonna lie. There's kind of like a little bit of like witchcraft, I feel like, honestly. I don't quote me on that, but I don't fully know, but like I kind of had that feeling even though I wasn't like fully a Christian yet. But anyway, that was in 2022. And then we went back there to do a reval, because he actually said I had Lyme disease, which you'll see why in a minute. Like that realization was huge. But yeah, so I did a reval. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he gave us more supplements to take, and like I think like there's like a parasite thing to do as well or whatever. I didn't obviously I did the supplements, but I didn't see really a lot of improvement from them, to be honest. There's just a lot of stuff to take. Like I think it was like probably over like 10 or 15 supplements of just whole bunch of stuff. And obviously, for those that don't know, I can't really swallow pills. So we had like all these broken up and like put into juice and stuff, and it was the weirdest concoctions you've ever seen. But I still got them down though. But yeah, so then there was that, and then what really changed it all was in 2023. 2023 is when, like, honestly, when God changed my life. Like all this stuff right here, it's all been leading to like 2023. So like, and God knew that from the end of the day. Like it's honestly incredible. But so basically in 2023, me and my family, we all went to Germany for a month, and there's a doctor up in Germany that treats for Lyme disease, because for those that don't know, Lyme can't really be treated in the US. Even though some places say they do, they really don't. Which is really unfortunate. It's just, that's our medical system. That's why, if you haven't looked at this over here, but this is all these medications I've been on because of our medical system. So I'm not like a huge fan of our medical system, unfortunately, because all it's done is it's pretty much let me just say they get profit on people being sick, which is really unfortunate. And they definitely took a big profit off of me, which is really sad. But anyway, so I was in Germany for a month, and every single day what they did is I laid on like this normal, obviously a normal bed, like for like hospitals have and whatnot. And I got an IV every single day, and I made sure to tell the doctor that I only want the smallest IV possible, which was, I think, the pink needle. Most hospitals do the blue needle, and I don't like big needles, so I specifically asked for the small needle, and I'm glad I did, because that saved my bacon, because of how many times my arms would be poked every day. I could have got a port or something, but I didn't want the risks and stuff to do that. But yeah, so once I got that every single day, and while they were using my IV, they lowered my blood sugar to about like 40-ish. And then what they did is they put antibiotics, very high dose of antibiotics, through the IV, which basically what happened was it would open up the basically how Lyme works, right? Is it's like a little spiral looking thing, and it kind of like goes in the flesh. So like it's actually like kind of like buried deep in there. And basically what this treatment does is it lowers the blood sugar, so it kind of like comes out because it's like starving, and then the antibiotics can come in and take care of it, the actual Lyme itself. And it's like cancer, so it doesn't like fully go away, but the actual symptoms of Lyme are gone, which is pretty great for me, honestly. It's like all I care about. Like, who cares? Like, I'm gonna have it forever, right? But yeah, so I did that every single day. And on top of that, by the way, they also did some, what's it called again? Oh, ketamine. Yeah, ketamine. Which is supposed to like rewire the brain and stuff. Which honestly, it might have. I don't know. Because obviously I don't really know much of my life from like, it's kind of weird to say this, but like pretty much up until maybe like 10 is when I actually could like fully understand my life in a way. And then from like 10 to, I was 19. So from like 10 to 19, I've like not really understood my life at all, which is really kind of scary. Where was I getting on this? Oh yeah, so the ketamine was supposed to like to retrain all that. And I think it did, honestly. The first few times were honestly insane. It was kind of like a weird like trip in a way. I'm not like, I don't really buy in all of that stuff. I don't do drugs like that, but like I've been through enough medications to say that I've been through that type of stuff and felt that. I don't need to dabble in that at all at this point. And I will never do that in my life. So praise God. But yeah, so I had the ketamine, I had the antibiotics, and the lowering of the blood sugar, which was with insulin, by the way. That's why it's called insulin potentiated therapy. But yeah, I did that for a full month in Germany, and it was kind of cool because we stayed in Switzerland, and so we could kind of like go back and forth. But yeah, so that's honestly the main thing that changed my life. Let's move on to like education wise. I could go there a little bit before I get into the testimony, or until I get into how I found Christ. But I think most of elementary school went okay. I got through up until maybe, I would say up until probably up until 4th grade is when it was pretty smooth sailing. And then 5th grade is when Oregon happened, and yeah, the whole like possession stuff, which was pretty bad, and we all moved and stuff. So that's when I think, honestly, cognitively, I kind of declined from there. Until, yeah, I kept declining until ninth grade. I tried ninth grade 4 times and just could never do it. And really, I struggled to like fully get the concepts, because honestly my brain was just full of Lyme and stuff, so I couldn't really conceptualize all the ideas and how to put them on paper and all that stuff. I honestly stayed in my room for probably 5-ish years, I'd say, from kind of like 2020 to well, I guess not like 5-ish, really. I don't know. Maybe more. Yeah, I'd say like, yeah, I don't know. I guess if you count like from 19 to probably 23, 2019 to 2023 is when I honestly just stayed in my room and just couldn't do anything, do high school, or honestly just leave the house. So obviously I ended up at these doctor's offices and stuff, but I was not making friends, I was not socializing, I was, well, technically I kind of was socializing because I had like online friends, sort of, which I can get into that in a minute too. But so that's honestly when I could see the cognitive decline from Lyme disease, which I didn't know about up until 23. And so right after the treatment and stuff, man, it was night and day. I was just able to like live life again. I was free, you know? And praise God, he was able to heal me and stuff at that time. 'Cause honestly, I think before we went to Germany, I honestly said that was probably my last attempt at getting treatment. 'Cause I was so tired of all these treatments and doctors and things that they say would work and never worked, which is fair enough, honestly, because of how much stuff I've been through. But yeah, so God actually fulfilled that, and which is all in His timing. Yeah, so pretty much right after, I was able to, I was actually able to drive. So I got my permit actually pretty soon, right after. I felt like that didn't take me too long to get. And then shortly after, I think it was like 24, I believe. I'm gonna double check real fast. Oh, I surprised myself. It is actually 2023. So that same year, guys, I got my driver's license. So that just shows you like how God works. Like it's actually insane. That pretty much right after I was able to get my permit. Wait, focus, hello. Like right after I was able to get my permit and my license, and by the grace of God, be able to have a car to drive. Like it was amazing. Like I felt like I was actually able to be an adult, you know, and live life. And I was actually, you know, like actually trying to do stuff different and be able to be out in the community and things I've never been able to do, honestly. So it was kind of a lot of relearning in kind of an interesting way, because a lot of people like don't have that, you know, experience of relearning life as an adult, which is kind of, you know, it's kind of weird. It's like from childhood to like adulthood, and there's like no in between. It was really strange, honestly. And I'm still relearning in a way. Like I'm only 3 years after it, like, but in those 3 years I found Christ. Like, dude, it's been unreal. Like so yeah, I'm gonna get into how I found Jesus now. So yeah, I've always grew up in a Christian household, which may sound like, oh yeah, shoot, you're already Christian, bro. Like, but here's the thing. I never truly knew Christ. I knew about him. I didn't know him. And that's the main difference, because sure, our America is like a Christian country, right? But we're not all like actually following Jesus if you think about it. And honestly, I as a kid, I have like this Bible, which is a little Precious Moments Bible, and because I was autistic, I always saw Christianity as like a rule religion, if you think about it. So it's like you have to follow all these rules and then you can make it to heaven, right? You have to do all these things, you have to be good, you have to like love people, you have to do what's right and all this stuff. And I always look back at this 10 Commandments part, if you can see it. And I honestly just kind of like saw it as like a rule book, because I'm just like, okay, sure, you have like 10 commandments and you have to follow them. Why is it always focused over there? And it's like, if I ever did any of these things, it's over. Like, I'm never going to heaven. Like, so I never truly understood Christianity at all, if you think about it. And as a kid, because my name's Mark and stuff, I was like flipping through the Bible, and then I'm like, oh, no way, they have a book about me. And so I was like, dude, this is for real. And then I was like reading it and stuff, like, wait, this is nothing about me. But yeah, I was, since I'm like kind of autistic like that, I was kind of thinking of like, oh shoot, that's where it was from. But yeah, so I didn't really understand. I went to Sunday school. I did all that stuff. Had all the Veggie Tales, the Bible songs, the youth group parties and events and games and all this stuff, but it never clicked. And I think that's honestly a big thing. And I think a lot of people are kind of in that same boat where like they're just kind of like stuck in these like religious traditions, and then it just like they'll never like fully follow Jesus, if that makes sense. And yeah, I also at that age, yeah, I didn't feel like worthy at all, like because of my conditions and the fact that like I could never like follow these and stuff, which that's funny that I thought of that at that point, because it's true, I never could follow them, and I honestly can never like fully follow them at all, because we're not supposed to follow them. It's a guide on how we're supposed to. It's basically to show that we aren't worthy, which is what I got at a young age, but it didn't connect to me, because there wasn't, at that age, there was like no hope. Yeah, so the 10 Commandments, we aren't supposed to follow them. It's a guide on to show that we aren't worthy, and that we need Christ in order to survive. And I didn't catch on to that at that young age. I was only like, probably like 7 or 8 or something, and I didn't feel like I had like the option of like actually saying that at a young age. I just kind of I didn't have like a lot of interest, I guess, because of how I just saw it initially and just didn't really want to question it. Which you should question. You should question everything you do, bro. Like everything in life you need to question, because if you don't question it, then you won't fully know what it's about. Like if you ain't questioning why I'm doing this video, what are you doing? Like that's a genuine question. Like everybody has a reason on why they do things, and sometimes not so much, like sometimes they're bad reasons and sometimes they're really good reasons. And so yeah, I guess that was kind of a side tangent. But anyway, so I didn't fully understand Christ, and I got to let's see, I guess right after being from Oregon being oppressed or possessed by a demon. Came back home to Idaho from Oregon, and I still remember this. And I also said this in the other video, by the way, but I was just on a bench, like right in the garage, and had both of my hands just on the floor, just sitting on the bench, just how you like pull yourself up a little bit. And my dad just read the Bible, and not even like 3 minutes, and I just felt like this thing come right out of me, and I'm like, what has just happened? Like, is this real? Like, and like I felt like so light in that moment, like I could just fly, like I was gonna float away like in a balloon or something. But even at that age, I was maybe like 11 or 12-ish, I believe. I've had that experience, and yet I didn't connect that to Christ, even though that was totally divine and totally like Christ right there. Like, but like obviously looking back at it, like, yeah, it was totally Jesus. But yeah, so I had that, and then I went to probably a ton of Christian concerts, even like 4 years ago, and like it didn't click to me. Like, sure, they have like the full message and being like, oh, you gotta follow Jesus and you gotta do this and this, but it just, I don't know what it was, but it didn't like, click. Even like retreats, even going to church and all this stuff, like it doesn't change unless you change, which is very true, because you have to be open, and you have to be like wanting to learn, and surrender. I think surrender was probably my biggest issue, because I was so tied up in just materialistic things. Like right now, like if I were to like throw this like down a pond or something, I wouldn't care. I mean, sure, yeah, it's like a phone, like it's gonna hurt, like it's money, but to me, who cares? Like if this entire room blows up, I have God, like that's way better than all this stuff. But at that point, I was so materialistic that if I didn't come home and see any of my stuff, I would probably like just die. Like I wouldn't live anymore, because of just how detrimental that would be to me. But now knowing that like Jesus is seriously all you need, like you don't need any of this. This is all gifts from God. Like it's unbelievable like how drastic the change can be, like when you truly follow him. So I had a lot of those moments from retreats. I went to probably like 3 or 4 different retreats, and obviously they were great, community wise. They were great people, great music and great messages and stuff, but none of it really clicked again, so but yeah, honestly, like even when you're broken, it doesn't mean you're open, because most of my life I've been in a broken state, but I haven't found like the key to fully open it, if that makes sense. Like a lot of those moments that I've been in a residential, or in a white room, or in the ER for how many times, I haven't like fully gotten to that point of being like, okay, Jesus, you're my all. Like you are 100%, you take over, you do all of it. I was never there, and I don't understand why I wasn't, but I always had like a deep like wall built around me from that materialistic thing and the surrender. So I think that's what really like stopped me from like truly following Christ at a younger age. But also, because I'm very logical and analytical, I needed to do the research myself to say, hey, what's with just this one? There's like, shoot, isn't there like 1,000 different religions? Like, why Christianity? And so that's how I truly found Christ. Probably at the end of 2023, which is insane because that's the same year that Jesus healed me. So it's all God, right? But right after that, I was kind of in a toxic friendship from pretty much right after, from Utah to probably 23. And I think I had that friendship just for community and like, just because I was yearning for like someone to relate to and stuff. But there was a lot of things that like kind of like ate me alive, just from being around them. And I just had to like kind of suck it up essentially without like pushing toes and, getting on people's nerves and stuff, calling them out or whatnot. But, yeah, it truly came down to in 23 where I just, there was a moment, and I still remember this, that there was a thing that popped up on Discord. For those that know what Discord is, they have like a little shop that you can like buy stuff and whatnot. And they just released a thing for like magic. And I'm like, no dude, no magic. So I told my friends, I'm like, dude, this is wrong. And then I've looked up like Bible verses and stuff because I was like truly seeking Christ, right? Against the magic. And they were so stuck on the fact that it's just fictional, that they honestly just yelled at me, and they were just like, dude, you're wrong, and go fly a kite, essentially. And that I think that was conviction in their hearts, honestly. I'm not going to name names, but yeah, honestly, if you guys are watching this, I do pray for you guys. Honestly, I truly do love and care for you guys with all my heart. You guys brought me through like a hard time in my life, honestly, and I pray that that Jesus would bring you through a hard time that you guys are going through, and that you would trust Him with all your heart and just surrender. That's honestly the biggest thing, is surrendering, because I think this world we want to be everything, right? We want to be Superman, we want to be Spider-Man, we want to have all the sin, right? We want to enjoy what we want to enjoy, but we don't decide that. We didn't make the earth. We didn't do any of that. We are just creatures that God made. Us creatures can't decide what God already decided. So I guess getting back to the story, I distanced from them in 2023, and that was honestly probably the best decision and helped me to truly get on fire for Christ. So right after that, I was like, dude, I was like a researcher for Christ. Like, I was on every page, every like religion thing, every theology. I was learning about Trinity. I was learning about like the resurrection, archaeological arguments, like Adam and Eve, different like cults and different religions, and I was like on a rush for truth. It was really, really good. There was a lot of things that kind of just like unfolded for me, and I think everyone that like truly has like the Holy Spirit, when they first know Christ, everybody has this analogy, from what I've researched. I had the same feeling where they basically didn't have glasses, and you put on the spiritual glasses of like being able to see the worldview from God's eyes, And dude, it is so amazing to see it that way, because you can see that there is hope, there is love, there is compassion, there's God everywhere you look. Like, he's in everything, and it's like you can't say otherwise. That's the thing. Like, every scientist, like, you have to have God in science. Like, you cannot have just science. And from someone that has always loved science, to know that that God was always there is like, shoot, that just like changes everything for me. Because obviously we all get taught, like, you know, Big Bang theories and evolution and all these things that don't make any sense personally, and biblically. They don't make any sense. So it was honestly a blessing to see that, and just to know that God is like a God of like order and design, and of reason. I think that was the biggest thing, to see how he had reason, even in my suffering and for my heartache, to be here where I am today. Like, I think for anyone that thinks differently, or is called different, has a different purpose and reason than someone else. And honestly, that's the fact that we are different, is the fact that we have a powerful and creative God, because we all have different experiences. So even if you have a disability, and this is for all the people that have mental disabilities, or I also have an eating disorder, by the way, too, which is avoided restrictive food intake disorder, which is called ARFID. I've had that for pretty much all my entire life. It's pretty much throughout all this. I've never got rid of it. Yeah, that's also been another struggle throughout my life as well. I could get into that as well, but I have a treatment for that coming up this month, and I pray to God that he will just be there and be able to help me get through that, because you guys don't understand how hard it is to have that disorder, and to not be able to eat certain things, and it's rough. I can go into that at a different time too, but I don't want to make it like super sad and whatnot. It's just reality of my life. But God can change it if it's his will. So I just pray for that. But also I'm going to get into, let's see. Yeah, so once I truly found Christ, is when I just got on that research track. So yeah, I was so on fire at that point. Like, you couldn't tell me otherwise. And obviously, I'm not a very super social person, but I think I would still talk about Christ at that point if the opportunity came up. Honestly, social anxiety has been like pretty bad most of my life as well. God's definitely changing that, because I've been able to do so much lately. It's been amazing. Yeah, that's when I was like truly reading scripture for myself, and I think that's one of the biggest things that can change your life, is when you read it for yourself instead of like getting it from somebody else. Because if you're learning and consuming it from like your own thinking, you can like fully understand the love of God that he has for you, and just see it the way God sees it. I know everyone kind of like interprets the Bible like differently and stuff, and there is certain parts of the Bible that are like more like logical and more like poetry and more prophecy and so on. So you kind of have to like, you know, understand that certain parts of the Bible are different, which is understandable. Yeah, so you got to understand that the Bible is very, very drastic, like where it's got a lot of different authors and physical authors. There's a lot, but there's only one author, and that was God, because it all is cohesive. Like there's no other book that has over 5,000 manuscripts and the Bible is the ultimate history book, and there's no other history book that has more evidence and more history in it than the Bible. So, yeah, that's where I just kept going with it. And I finished, honestly, most of the Gospels. I think most of them. Wait, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. I think I got through them all, honestly, which was pretty impressive for me, because I'm not a huge reader, and I actually struggle with gaining information from reading and stuff. So I think God definitely helped me through that for sure. And then in 24, I actually got baptized at the Snake River, and that was that was amazing. Super cold, but very amazing. 24, that was honestly a God year, because that kind of cohesed 23's healing to 24's being fully God's, from relearning things to just having God through it. It was, I think 24 was honestly probably one of my best years in a very long time. So yeah, if you give your year to God and every day to God, dude, it's the ultimate year day that you can ever have. There's nothing better. It's amazing. You just have to be willing and able to just give it to Him. And a lot of my life I didn't want to, but it's so much worth it, man. It's so much worth it. So yeah, I got baptized in 24, and then in 25 is where I'm going to get into living waters. Let's go. So yeah, for those that don't know, Living Waters Christian Cruise is a Christian cruise for young adults. And I just kind of found it randomly on Instagram. Just, God showing up there, and looked at it and be like, shoot, that'd be pretty fun. And my parents were like, let's, you better sign up. And I'm like, shoot, let's do it. So they signed me up, and they also signed up. So they, obviously they weren't a part of the young adult stuff, but they were still on the cruise to help me out and whatnot with, because I'm not super independent yet, but I'm still working on stuff just like everybody else. Still have struggles and things to go through. But yeah, that was a great time. That first cruise in February of 25, that changed a lot for me. For those that don't know, I made so many friends on that first cruise and pushed myself out of my comfort zone in ways I would have never thought were possible. And it's because of those friends, which was amazing. And also, because I've been pretty much on the last day of the cruise, they had an intense worship. And during that worship, I fully had an encounter with the Holy Spirit, 100%. There's no denying it. And I've never really had that experience. I kind of had it when that time when I was in the garage and stuff, sort of, but I didn't have it like this per se, where I actually just you could feel the heat and the just His presence, the lightness, just the love, my whole body was shaking and stuff. It was, dude, it was unreal. And I was honestly praying for that type of thing to happen for me, because with all that research and stuff, I was watching like all these people like where they had that experience, and it's like you can't be a Christian and not have this experience. So I was praying and stuff, and then to have it happen like at the last day of the cruise, like, dude, it was unimaginable. Like, it was so unreal. And that kind of just like shifted things for me, because like, you know, like, he's a living God. Like, he's not just dead. Like, he is living like now. Like, it's not just some book from 2,000 years ago. Like, he is living today. Like, every single day you get to choose to live with the one true God, like, and be in like communication with him. Like, that's unreal, dude. And yeah, it's just so crazy. So yeah, I had that in 25, which was last year. I actually did a few other vacations that year as well, but yeah, it was a pretty crazy year. And then literally like a week ago, or like, yeah, honestly, probably a week ago, is when I went to Living Waters again, and Living Waters 2026. And that was crazy. There was double the amount of people was from last year, and it was so good to reunite with friends, just to see God's hand in everything. Oh, it was so good. But yeah, that's kind of, I probably honestly rambled like way too much during this, and I usually don't talk this much, but I just have a lot to say. So yeah, if you guys are still sticking in, like, dude, I mean, it's unreal that you guys are still here, and God wanted you to see this, and if I can even help one person, I would do it every time, dude. Like, my entire goal in life is to help people, because most of my life I've been a lot of like obviously medical stuff, but I've been really selfish, honestly, and like selfish to the point of just like I will like grab someone over like just a remote, or like force someone or like ever to get me something, or manipulate people. I don't know, dude. I was something else for stuff, but that's not the goal. The goal is Christ. So if you guys are still here, yeah, I want to close this out, and just pray that I'm just gonna do a prayer over this. And yeah, dear God, pray to all the people that have made it this far. I pray that all the words that I've said during this, that you would use them, and that anything that is going on in their lives, Lord, that you have your hand on it. For the people that say they're unworthy, that you love them, you care for them, you design them, you made them. You have a hope and a future for everybody that is watching this, and for everybody in the world, Lord. You created every single person for purpose and reason. Yeah, I pray for the people that have hard hearts with you, Lord, or honestly don't have a great relationship with you. I pray that you would change their mind and their hearts, Lord. Just show them your love, your mercy, and your glory, and show that there is hope, there is a future in you, Lord. Yeah, I just pray over everybody here, Lord, that you would allow the Holy Spirit to dwell in them, and that the Holy Spirit can use them in your mercy, Lord, and every single day in our busy lives. So yeah, in Jesus' mighty name, amen. Oh man, thank you guys so much for being here. If you guys were impacted by this, please feel free to reach out. I love to help in any single way I can. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. In Jesus' mighty, mighty name. See you guys later.